Hi Mr Gilmore, this is Gary from Arnold Kia Cumbernauld. Just sending you a short video today to show you the progress of your car now that we have in the workshop and we're carrying it to service. I would just like to go around in the video now and show you a few of the items that we checked during the course of the service, and I do have a couple of things to bring to your attention. Just going to start off with your tyres here. Now we do check all your tyres for any cuts, punctures, any sort of damage across the tread of the tyre, as well as checking the sidewalls for damage as well. And there's nothing to report in terms of damage, but we do have a couple of advisories for the tyres wearing low. This is the passenger side front tyre here, and we have 2mm on the outside wear band, 1.6 in the centre, and 2.2 on the inside wear band. Now as a company we advise our tyres for replacement at 3mm and under, because if your tyre's on 3mm it's roughly 80% worn. But in the centre here you're just on the 1.6mm wear band. Now this is bang on the legal limit of what a tyre should be at, so we're going to advise this tyre for replacement today. Moving across to the driver's side front now, and we have 6.6mm on the outside wear band, 6.9 in the centre, and 6.6 on the inside wear band. No issues at all there with the driver's side front tyre, it's still in good condition, still got lots of life left on it. And moving across now to the driver's side rear here, and we have 4.8mm on the outside wear band, 4.9 in the centre, and 5.4 on the inside wear band. Same again, still plenty of life left in that tyre there, no issue at all. And lastly we're going across to the passenger side rear tyre here. We have 4.6mm on the outside wear band, 4.4 in the centre, and 5mm on the inside wear band. So same again, no issues at all there. The only issues that we have is with the passenger side front tyre being below the 3mm and wearing bang on the legal limit for what a tyre should be at. So like I say, that's the only one for being advised for replacement today. We're just going to bring you back to the front of the car now so we can go over your front brake and suspension systems here. We have your lower suspension components here, as well as the steering components at the back here. These have all been checked. We checked for any excessive movement in the ball joints here and here, and there's nothing to report, they're all in good condition. We also check your drive shaft here. We have your shock absorber, and right up the top there is your coil spring. We check the coil springs for any fractures, and we check the shock absorbers for any hydraulic oil leaks. As you can see, it's nice and dry there, there is no oil leaks, and there's no fractures in the springs. And just moving on to the condition of the front brakes here, you can see nice and shiny on the outer face of the disc, and you can just see through the heat shield there that there is no corrosion on the inside face either, because discs are in good condition. We've got a small visual aid here to show you the condition of the brake pads. Just a small set of feeler gauges. Red, amber, green system here. We're going to use the upper amber, which is 6mm in thickness, and I'm just going to place it against the brake pad inside the caliper there for you. You can see how much braking surface is left on the brake pads at the front. It's slightly bigger than the 6mm gauge, so the brake pads at the front we marked down is roughly 7mm thick. So it's roughly 30% worn for the front brake pads, so you still have at least 70% of the front brake's life remaining. You can see the other side there as well. You can see the driver's side there. And you can see the nice and shiny, no corrosion on the faces of the brake disc on the driver's side either. And all areas of the suspension and steering components on the driver's side have all been checked, and they're all in good condition as well. You can see the shock absorber up the top there and your coil spring as well there. That's absolutely fine. Now as we work our way down to the back of the car, we check the exhaust system, making sure there's no leaks at any of the joins in the pipe, making sure all the rubber hangers are in place and that the exhaust is secure, and also just checking for any sort of damage that may have been hit off of something on the road. Also during the course of your service today we've replaced your engine oil and your engine oil filter, and we've also replaced your brake fluid as well. It's just all part of the service that you were due to get today. And that brings us down to the rear exhaust section there, and no issue at all there, they're all in good condition. That brings us on to the rear suspension now. We've got a coil spring here and your shock absorber which runs up the side there. It's a different setup from the front, but the principle is still the same. We check the springs for any fractures, and we check the shock absorbers for any hydraulic oil leaks. Sorry. You can see nice and dry there, and there is no fractures in the springs. You can see the other side there as well. And that's absolutely fine. And just moving on now lastly to the rear brakes, you can see It's much the same as the fronts, no corrosion on the outer or inner faces of the disc there, nice and shiny. And for the rear brake pads, it's the same gauge. We're going to use the 6mm gauge for the rear brake pads as well. And just going to place that inside the caliper there, and you can see how much is left on the brake pads at the rear. So much the same as the front's been marked down as roughly 30% worn, so you still have at least 70% of the rear brake's life remaining. And you can see the outside brake pad there as well. The rear brake pads do start off slightly thinner than the fronts, and they wear down a little bit slower as well. There's no issues at all with the rear brakes here, they're all in good condition. Just going to refer to my paperwork there to summarise what we've gone over the car today. One other issue that I have found with the car today is the inflation kit in the boot for in the event you get a puncture. The sealant in that kit has expired on March 2019, so we would advise getting a new sealant for that kit, and you require a passenger side front tyre, as the tyre is right on the legal limit across the centre of the tread. And excuse me, that concludes our short video. I hope you find this informative, and one of our service team will be giving you a wee call upon the car's completion. You will also be receiving an email in the next couple of days. We would appreciate that greatly if you could fill that out for us. But thanks again for using Arnold Kia Cumbernauld, and goodbye.